Billionaire catches homeless boy dancing with his paralyzed daughter barefoot. Starving boy slipped through the iron gates of a mansion. He wasn't there to steal. He wasn't there to beg. He stopped when he saw her. The billionaire's daughter. Small, silent. Sitting alone in a wheelchair. Her eyes heavy with sadness. Then the boy did something no one expected. He danced. Not for money. Not for food. But for one reason only. To make her smile. What happened next would change all their lives forever. Richard Lawson was one of the richest men in the city. Oil, real estate, shipping, everything he touched turned to gold. They called him the Golden Touch. But behind the towering walls of his Banana Island mansion, his greatest loss wasn't business. It was silence. The silence of a daughter who no longer laughed. Amanda. His only child, once a bright, energetic 8-year-old. Until the car accident. The crash that took his wife, Elizabeth. Anne took Amanda's legs, once. Her laughter filled the house like music. Once she ran through the garden chasing butterflies. Now she sat still, day after day, staring out the window. Her spark fading. Richard fought it, the only way he knew how. With money. India, Germany, America. The best doctors, the most advanced treatments. Every trip ended the same way. Hope. Then heartbreak. Amanda stopped smiling, stopped laughing, stopped wanting to leave her room. Even Richard, feared and respected by the world, broke a little more every day. Then came the afternoon that changed everything. The sun burned hot over the garden. Amanda sat quietly, eyes fixed on the gate, lost in thought. Then movement. A shadow near the hedge. A boy slipped through. Barefoot. Thin. Clothes torn and oversized, knees scarred by the streets. But when his eyes met Amanda's, they sparkled, without a word. He started to dance. Not smooth. Not perfect. Wild. Silly. Exaggerated. Arms flailing like a clown, feet spinning, face twisted into ridiculous expressions. Amanda blinked. Then a tiny giggle escaped her lips. The boy pretended to trip. Catching himself dramatically. She clapped. And then she laughed. Real laughter. Loud. Free. It echoed across the compound. The boy grinned and danced harder. Spinning. Hopping. Rolling on the grass. Amanda's laughter grew louder. His name was Cola. At least, that's what he told people. No one knew his full story. They only knew he had no home. Some nights under a bridge. Some nights in unfinished buildings. No parents. No bed. Just cold concrete. But Cola had one thing. Joy. When hunger hurt, he danced. When drivers yelled at him, he danced. When the world rejected him, he danced. Dance was his voice. His shield, his escape. That day, walking past the mansion, he saw Amanda through a gap in the gate. Sad. Still. Something stirred inside him. No sadness, he thought. Maybe I can chase hers away. So he danced. When she laughed, it felt better than food. In those moments, he wasn't homeless. He wasn't hungry. He was just a child making another child happy. What Cola didn't know was that someone else had heard the laughter inside the mansion. Richard Lawson froze. That sound. He hadn't heard it in months. He rushed to the balcony, and there it was. His daughter laughing. Clapping. Alive. And the reason. A barefoot street boy dancing in his garden. Anger hit first. How did he get in? Where were the guards? Richard almost shouted. Then he saw Amanda. Her cheeks flushed, her back straight, her arms clapping with strength he hadn't seen in months. He stopped. For the first time in a long while, something stirred in his chest. Hope. Hidden behind a marble pillar, Richard watched. This boy had done in minutes what millions could not. The next afternoon, Cola returned. Same path. Same hope. He hadn't eaten well, but he had purpose. Amanda was waiting, eyes bright. Hands ready. Are you ready? Cola asked. She nodded, giggling. Then a voice cut through the air. Stop. Richard Lawson stepped forward. Cola froze. He knew that look, the look before punishment. He prepared to run. Daddy, please, Amanda cried. Don't send him away. Richard studied the boy. Torn clothes, bare feet, scars no child should have, yet his eyes were steady. What's your name? Cola. Why are you here? I saw her sad, he said softly. I just wanted to make her laugh. I didn't come to take anything. I can leave. The words hit Richard hard. Where? Do you sleep? Anywhere. Hunger. Sometimes. I dance so it won't win. Amanda's eyes filled with tears. He makes me happy, Daddy. Richard looked at her feet. They moved, just a little, but it was movement. He took a deep breath. You can stay today? He said. Where I can see you? Cola nodded fast. He smiled at Amanda. Showtime. She clapped. And the garden became a stage again. One day became 3. 3 became a week. The guards were told one thing. Let him in at 4 o'clock. Richard instructed. He leaves at 6. He eats before he goes. Cola arrived each day with new ideas. He danced like ass-spinning top. He told funny stories from the bus park. He acted out quarrels between Danfo drivers and their conductors. He made sound effects, fell dramatically, stood up grandly, bowed like a king, then crossed his eyes until Amanda's laughter shook her shoulders. But it wasn't just laughter. Something else was happening. Amanda's hands grew stronger from clapping. She started lifting her arms to copy his moves. Her voice grew more confident. She told him again and no, do it like yesterday. She even tried to spin her wheelchair in small circles when he spun on the grass. And every small turn felt like victory. Richard watched all of this quietly, noticed the little things, how Cola never asked for anything before performing, how he always checked Amanda's face before trying a joke, how expected nothing but claps, yet when food was offered, he ate gently, like someone who knew what it meant to eat once a day in the evenings. After Cola left, Amanda spoke more than before. Daddy, did you see the one where he pretended to be a police siren? Daddy, today I felt something in my toes. Daddy, can he come tomorrow? The doctor examined her during a routine hospital visit and was surprised. Her engagement is back. He said, looking at her closely, this kind of motivation can spark recovery. Pathways, we can't always explain. Whatever you're doing, keep it going, keep it. That night, Richard stood alone in the garden, looking at the space where Cola danced. He felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Gratitude that didn't come from a bank transfer. He whispered into the warm air, thank you, boy, and though no one was there to hear it, Thegerton seemed to agree. It happened on an ordinary afternoon. The kind of day when you don't expect miracles. The sun leaned low, the hedge threw soft shadows on the lawn, and a radio somewhere was playing an old hi-fi tune. Cola was mid-performance doing his slow-motion dance, where he moved as if time had become thick and heavy. Amanda laughed so hard she forgot to hold her blanket in place. Wait, she said, catching her breath, let me try something. She placed both hands on the armrests of her wheelchair. Her face tightened with effort. For a heartbeat, nothing happened, then her shoulders rose. Then her chest, then slowly her hips lifted an inch, then two. She held trembling for 3 long counts. 1, Cola whispered eyes wide. 2, Richard counted, stepping forward without realizing it. 3, Amanda breathed before sinking back into the chair, panting, and smiling, eyes wet. Silence fell over the garden. It was not the old silence, the heavy one. It was a holy silence. The kind that comes after a prayer is answered in a way you did not expect. Cola broke it with a shout, you did it, you did it. He spun 3 times and dropped to his knees beside her. Champion. Richard knelt on the other side. His hands shaking, he touched his daughter's forehead lightly. You are brave, he said. I am so proud of you. Amanda reached for both of them. One small hand for her father, one for her friend. I'm not scared anymore, she said when Hedden says, I feel like I can move. They didn't tell the world, not yet. They didn't post it or call the newspapers. They simply kept going, more laughter, more practice, more tiny movements that added up to something big. That night, Richard couldn't sleep. He walked the long hallways of his mansion, his footsteps echoing against the marble floors. He thought of his daughter, her bright eyes when Cola entered, her stronger voice when she called out for him. Then he thought of his pride, his image, his name. It was a battle inside his chest between pride and love, between what the world expected and what his heart was telling him. By dawn, Richard realized something. Reputation could heal his daughter. Money had it saved her laughter. But Cola, a boy with nothing, had given Amanda hope. For the first time, Richard admitted to himself, maybe wealth isn't the highest power. Maybe kindness is. One Saturday afternoon, Richard called Cola to sit with him in the garden. For the first time, the boy wasn't asked to dance, he was asked to talk. Tell me about yourself, Richard said. Cola hesitated. Nobody ever asked about him. People only saw his dirty clothes and waved him off. But Richard's eyes were serious, almost gentle. I don't know where I was born. Cola began softly. My mother died when I was little, my father left. Some women at the market gave me food sometimes. But when I got older, they stopped. So I stayed with other boys at the bus station. We sleep under the bridge or in shops if they're empty. Richard listened, his chest tightening. Why do you dance? Cola smiled faintly. When you're hungry, your body feels heavy. If you just sit, the hunger wins. But if you move, if you dance, it feels lighter. People laugh. Sometimes they give me coins, sometimes they don't. But at least I don't feel invisible. Richard nodded slowly. He had attended the best schools, eaten the finest meals, and traveled the world. Yet sitting in front of him was a boy who had learned life's deepest truth without any teacher. joy is strength from today. Richard said firmly. You are not invisible anymore. You are part of this house. Cola blinked, unsure if he had heard correctly, but when Amanda wheeled herself closer and grabbed his hand, smiling wide, he realized he was no longer just a boy of the streets. He was becoming family. The true turning point came one afternoon that began like any other. The sun was warm. The flowers in the garden swayed gently, and Cola was doing his playful robot dance while Amanda clapped. I want to try standing, she shouted suddenly, surprising even herself. Cola stopped mid-move. What? I mean it, she insisted, her voice strong. Richard, sitting nearby, tensed. He didn't want her to strain, but he also knew he couldn't hold her back. Amanda placed her hands on her wheelchair handles. Her arms shook, but she didn't stop. She pushed hard, her face scrunching in effort. Slowly, painfully, she rose, one knee trembled. Then the other straightened slightly. She wasn't standing tall, but she was up, her feet pressing against the ground, her body upright for the first time since the accident. Richard's heart slammed in his chest. The guards at the gate froze. Even the housemaids gasped from a distance. Cola shouted with joy, spinning in circles before dropping to his knees. You did it. You're standing, Amanda, you're standing. Amanda held herself there for 3 seconds, her little body trembling like a leaf in the wind. Then she fell back gently into that chair. Instead of crying, she laughed. I stood. Did you see me? Daddy, I stood. Richard knelt beside her, tears blurring his vision. He touched her trembling hands. I saw, sweetheart, and I have never been prouder. That day, the mansion was no longer silent. It roared with laughter, claps, and cheers. That turning point had come, and Richard knew it. His daughter's healing had begun, and it all started with a boy who once had nothing but a dance. That night, long after Amanda had fallen asleep, Richard sat in the quiet of his study. The papers on his desk were untouched. His phone buzzed with messages, but he ignored them. His mind was on one thing. Cola. For weeks, the boy had brought life back to his daughter. She laughed again, she moved again, she lived again, and tonight, she had stood. Even if on life for a few seconds, it was a miracle. Richard knew, it was not luck. It was Cola. That night, Richard found Cola sitting quietly on the back steps, his arms wrapped around his knees, staring into the darkness as though unsure if he truly belonged there. Richard lowered himself beside him. You shouldn't be out here alone, Richard said gently. Cola gave a small shrug. I'm used to it, sir. Not anymore, Richard replied, his voice steady, carrying the weight of a promise. This is your home now, you're part of this family. You'll eat 3 meals a day, you'll go to school, and you'll never again have to wonder where to lay your head. Cola's eyes widened, his voice trembling as he whispered, Thank you, sir. Richard turned to face him fully, his own eyes glistening. Listen to me, Cola. I know what you've given my daughter. You gave her something no money, no doctor, no medicine could provide, hope, and anyone who gives hope is not just worth knowing, they are worth loving. For the first time in his life, Cola felt truly seen. His throat tightened and tears slipped down his cheeks. That night, he lay on a soft bed, safe under a roof in a place he could finally call home. The cold concrete nights of the past were over. It didn't take long for the story to sweep across the city. A powerful millionaire had opened his doors to a boy. From the streets, to some, it was an act of reckless sentiment. To others, it was the mark of true courage. The newspapers blazed with headlines. Millionaire lost and adopt street child. City divided between outrage and admiration. Some of Richard's business partners pulled him aside. Richard, this will damage your reputation, a street boy in your mansion. What if he steals? What if he disgraces you? Think of your image. Buttigieg had changed. He no longer cared for shallow appearances. My image, he said calmly. My daughter is standing again. My daughter is smiling again. That is the only image I care about, Amanda herself told anyone who questioned her. Cola is me friend. He makes me strong. If you hadn't like him, you don't love me. The voices of doubt grew quieter because while some mocked, many others admired. Neighbors whispered differently now. Imagine a boy from the street is helping Amanda walk again. Maybe kindness is richer than money, and in the middle of it all, Cola remained humble. He didn't care about newspapers or gossip. Every day he just danced. Every day he laughed with Amanda. Every day he gave his gift. The mansion Thatons echoed with silence was now filled with life. Mornings started with Amanda calling out for Cola. Afternoons were filled with laughter as he performed his silly routines. Evenings ended with shared meals where Amanda teased her father for smiling more often than before. Slowly, Amanda's therapy improved, with Cola cheering beside her. She walked small steps, then longerons. She still used her wheelchair at times, but fear no longer controlled her. She was living again. Richard, too transformed. He was no longer just a millionaire chasing business deals. He was a father rediscovering joy. And with Cola, he found himself acting like a father again, guiding, teaching, protecting. One day, Amanda looked at Cola and whispered, "Now I'm not alone anymore. I have a brother, Richard Laud." But inside, his heart swelled with pride. For the first time in years, his house was no longer just a mansion. It was a home. One evening, as the sun painted the city sky in gold and crimson, Richard stood in the garden watching Amanda take careful steps with Cola holding her hand. The sound of her laughter, mixed with Cola's playful shouts, filled the air in that moment. Richard understood something he had never truly known. Money was useful, yes, but true wealth was not in bank accounts or business deals. True wealth was in the laughter of his daughter, in the courage of a boy who refused to be broken by the streets, in the love that bound them all together. He whispered to himself, "I thought I had everything, but I had nothing until I met this boy." From that day, Richard Lawson became now not just as a wealthy man, but also a man of heart. Cola was no longer a themeless boy. He was part of the Lawson family, and Amanda's story became a beacon of hope for families everywhere, that sometimes the cure we need does not come from medicine or money but from love, kindness, and unexpected re-end. If this story touched you, let us know in the comments and tell us where in the world you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe to Folktales Olivia for more emotional, dramatic, and unforgettable stories. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and keep watching.